Buyer's Guide to Used Mobility Scooters. In this video, I'm going to go through and point out some things to look for when buying used scooters. I'm also going to purchase a scooter, fix it up, and show you all the potential problems with it. Before we get started, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's free and it'll help me out. Okay, let's start with the do's and don'ts of buying a scooter. Get the scooter that is right for you. What does that mean? Well, if you're using an indoor scooter, get one that's suitable for indoor, tight turning radius. If you're going to be going long distance outside, get a larger scooter, one with larger wheels and more comfortable suspension. Indoor, outdoor. Modern homes, condos, double wide trailers are not suitable for modern day scooters. You need very small, very tight cornering radius scooters. When was it last used? Well, the big problem with when it was last used is most likely the batteries. As far as the electronics, they can withstand large storage time just as long as it isn't in a damp or moist environment. Who maintained it and what was done? This is a good question to ask, because if the person you're talking to is the same person who did the maintenance, they'll come up with some creative maintenance solutions. The truth is, there's very little maintenance that does need to be done to these machines. A little bit of greasing on some of the nibs, and battery maintenance is the big thing, and tire pressure. Tires, tires, tires. Well, I said it enough, and I truly mean it. I can tell so much about a scooter by the tires. Are they all the same? Have they been replaced? How much wear is on them? Are they the original tires? These are very important questions to ask, and by looking at the tires can tell the type of terrain and the environment and the type of driving that they did with this machine. Where was the scooter bought or originally purchased from? This is an important question to ask because it gives provenance to the actual machine, so you can go back and check maintenance records. Where was the scooter stored over the winter? This is so important, and you can also say, where was the scooter stored when you weren't using it? I've pulled scooters apart, found mice inside, I found bugs' nests, I found hornets' nests. There's some nasty stuff inside those machines when they just sit in one spot for a while. Another suggestion that I would make is bring a telescopic mirror and a flashlight so you can see underneath the machine, because you might run into some surprises when you get it home. Call ahead before you stop by. Make sure he has a full charge on the machine before you take it for a test drive. Keep the person talking. This is going to sound bad, but as long as the person keeps talking, you'll be able to find inconsistencies in their story a little bit easier. 3 strikes and I'm out. What that means is, if you find 3 inconsistencies, 3 things that weren't stated in the original advertisement, walk away. Let's talk about batteries for a second. If you're buying a machine, just assume that you have to replace the batteries and add that into the cost that you're willing to pay. Okay? The test drive, if the battery is new, and they all say that they are, do a 5 to 10 minute drive up a hill with the lights on. When you return back after that 5 or 10 minute drive, the battery meter should not have moved during that distance, because it's not enough to put that much of a drain on the battery. If it's not in the green or it started to move, then the batteries are not up to par and they're not new. Let's find a scooter to buy. 2 places that I look on are Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace. Okay, I'm on Kijiji. Let's take a look and see what we have for mobility scooters here. That seems a little expensive. Please contact. That'll be really expensive. $9.75. This guy here is dated. This is probably about minimum 15 years old. Well, this is 2006, so 15, it's 17 years old. A little too old. Oh, 16, 17, yeah. A little too old. This guy here. I'm buying this for my father, so he's a bigger person. I think this might be a little too small. Just one set of photos. I'd like to be able to zoom in on this guy. Let's go back here. 2016. That's a newer model. 5 years old. The only issue that I have with these guys, these batteries are different. It's a whole unit that comes out, and then this unit will fold up. This could be something I'd want to take a look at. It seems okay. Good name. Yep. Seems to be okay. That's one we might have to take a look at here. Brand new. It's a 2016. I don't understand what brand new means, because just looking at this unit, it's not brand new. Okay. Whenever you see something that's deceptive in an article, it's not worth going out to see, because if you can't trust what the person says, call them. He might be a typo or something else. You never know. Okay. I'm interested in this one. This one actually makes me really interested. It's a Pride Hurricane. Let's take a look here. Can I zoom in a bit more? No, can't really zoom in here. We got some markings here, and we got a broken headlight here. The rack here is missing. The tires are in really good shape. Let's take a look at another photo here. This is the same as the Legend. If you've watched one of my other videos, I did a transaxle rebuild on it. Let's take a look at another photo here. The treads look really, really good, and the machine looks in good condition. This steering wheel here is really soft, and if it was abused, it would all be hacked up here. And it looks like it's in good condition. The only thing I'm seeing is this broken headlight here and this piece here. That's a little rusty, but that's just one of those things that happen. I think I'm going to buy this. Okay, let's go take a look at a couple more. Finish the first page. Oh no, there's some more here. Okay, let's take a look at this guy. $754, a Pride scooter. It's posted. It says brand new, over 2,000 plus. You won't find one cheaper than this. Okay, this photo says a lot. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. I don't get it, it actually made it smaller. What do you see wrong? Okay, I'll tell you what I see wrong. First off, there's a huge chunk of fender missing here. That's bad. Right here's cracked and damaged, that's split. That means the person hit something so hard, it either slammed the wheel to the side, if they're lucky, and then damaged this, because there's no front bumper and the tires protrude further than the front of the machine. This battery box is taken off and these cables are taken out, which means they didn't put this back properly. So it could be a few things as well with this. The seat's damaged. It's not holding its form, and there's no headrest on the seat either. You get into an accident, and they happen on these machines. You got a hole right here in the actual hubcap. What else we got here? Yeah, that's way more pronounced there. You got some screws holding this pad on. Yeah, this thing's been hodgepodged and repaired. Yeah. Controllers don't look bad. This doesn't seem so bad right back here. If these are original tires, not too bad. Got a little something going on here. Yeah, I'd stay away from this one. Scooter does not include the charger. That makes me weary about it, about a lot of things with when a scooter doesn't include a charger. This is taken right out of the guide. Yeah. It is possible the charger got broken, but I don't like to buy scooters unless they have chargers with them, because when someone steals a scooter, you don't get the charger. So, I'm not saying it's stolen, but not worth the hassle. Here, let's take a look at the next one down here. Seems to be within a price range. Listed 22 days ago. 700. Two batteries, that's good. 400-pound capacity, that's good. It includes extended range batteries. Doesn't matter, because I'm going to tell you straight out that whenever you buy a machine, just assume the batteries are garbage. Nobody takes them out. Nobody does the proper conditioning of them. For a heavy-duty machine, it doesn't have much of a range capacity. So I'm not seeing how big these heavy-duty batteries could actually be. The nice thing is, they're cheap to replace. When they're small batteries, they're relatively cheap to replace. Let's take a look at the unit, shall we? It's a modern style, so I don't know how old this actually is, but I'm going to say it's less than 10 years. This person likes to run into things because we got damage on the right-hand side and we have damage on this side. Still not a big deal. It's just cosmetic. To replace this fender and this stuff is probably more than $700, so you wouldn't bother doing it. Let's take a look here. Nice if I could zoom in. I don't know why we can't zoom in on this. Not bad from the side. You get lots of scrapes on the side, but you got to look at the type of people who drive these. You're going to be getting the scrapes and bumps on the sides of them. Seats in good condition. You got the damage on the front. Not bad. What you want to look for are wear on the wheels here. The wear on the wheels are going to tell you a couple of things. The type of terrain that the person drives on. Also, do you see the external rust here? It's not a big deal because these are cheaply painted, so they'll rust relatively easy. But this probably wasn't stored inside of a climate-controlled house. It was probably stored out in a garage. When it becomes a big deal is when the batteries aren't taken out of the machine. Controller looks nice. It's missing a mirror, so it had a little bit of trauma with the mirror. If the mirror was never put on, there'd be a cap on here. Almost looks like the seat's damaged a small amount here, but I didn't see it from the other view. Do you see how this rides up high? Do you see how this guy's riding down low? It could be just a visual thing as well. You'd have to see this in person. Not a bad charger. Somebody did something where they took this off and didn't put it back on. I don't think that this is damaged. I just don't think it was reassembled properly. Basket in the front is intact. First thing to go on these machines is the basket. They smash into something, the basket breaks or cracks or crumbles. So that's a good thing. So probably wasn't super abused. Yeah, you're seeing the wrinkle here on the seat. If you got to replace the seat because it's uncomfortable down the road, that seat's going to cost more than the unit itself. Not bad. This would be one I would consider taking a look at, because the price isn't outrageous. You guessed it, I actually went out and bought this scooter. Let's take a look at it. Okay, a little bit of noted damages here. Besides that, it's a pretty clean unit. Everything looks nice. Might have sat out for a little bit. I believe one of the tail lights is cracked. Besides that, it seems unabused, which is surprising. Okay, so let's take a look at the charger. So this is a standard charging unit. Now, if we take a look here, the first thing I see is this is a 2-pin solution for a 3-pin problem. Okay, you only see 2 pins there, but if we take a look right here, it's a 3-pin charger. So there's no way this could actually be charging because we only have 2 pins here. So what has happened is the pin come loose inside here, so I got to fix that. Let's see if this camera angle works here. So I'm just going to unscrew this. I'm going to pull this sheath back here. Oh, I wanted to push it out, didn't want it to fall down. Doing a little bit more research, I don't trust it, so I'm not going to be using that particular charger. It doesn't have a ground, and I am worried about fire, so I will not be using that particular charger. Okay, time to get to the battery compartment. So what you do is you turn the chair about 45 degrees, and then you actually lift the chair straight up and out. What you want to do is lubricate the inside of this so that the chair actually does come out and doesn't get rusted in, okay? So make sure you lubricate that when you put it back together. Okay, now this cover is just Velcroed on here and there, okay? That's all, just 2 spots of Velcro. This is exactly what you want to see when you take this apart. Good quality batteries, no corrosion here, and these guys are nicely, so see that? That guy wasn't even plugged in. So this guy wasn't even plugged in properly. So I want to make sure they're all the way in. There you go. Same with this guy, all the way in, all the way in, all the way in. No, nothing's still dead. That's fine. We'll throw these guys on charge, and we'll see in a couple hours if they're any good or not. It's possible that they're 100% dead and need to be replaced. Anything's possible. The brake works good. That is this emergency brake here. Goes through right here onto the back axle, and everything looks good so far. Okay, so the diagnosis continues. So I don't know if the charger's actually charging, because it's possible there's a burnt fuse or something else, because I've never seen this machine actually run. So it has high-end gel batteries, so I'm hoping I can salvage these guys, because that is nice. And they're also $421 each, plus tax. So ideally, that would be nice to be able to salvage those. So I have 2 different chargers going at one time. Fortunately, this is going to be the easiest battery swap out ever. All I have to do is unplug here, disconnect the strap, put this guy back in, put the strap back on, plug it in, and I'm done. In the end, I did manage to recondition the batteries. I will use those for future projects. Now it's time to fix the speed control unit. I noticed this when I bought it, so it wasn't a surprise. It's also not that big of a deal. Worst case scenario, I do have a spare. Okay, so I need to take care of this guy here. It's a little bit loose. So I'm going to start by taking off these 2 screws here, and we'll go from there. Okay, now that I've taken those 2 screws out, this will come up, but I believe it's held in by a screw at the front. So I'm going to take off the light assembly and see what I have under here. Okay, so now I got these 2 screws off. I can pull this out individually. me take this whole piece off here. And just to get that off, all I have to do is unclip the light, and then this whole piece will come off. But I don't need to take that off yet. Now let's see if there's some screws up in here. No. It's just wire holding it in. So I didn't really need to take that piece off, but it makes it easier to see. Now this guy here, I don't know if you can see it or not. This guy here is only loose because of the screw at the top there. I'm going to try and pull the knob off and maybe get in there with a screwdriver or something to pull it off. We'll see. Okay, so what I tried to do is tighten this up with an ignition wrench and try and get it up underneath the button here, but the button was too close, so I ended up having to pry this off. I know how weak these are and I really didn't want to break it, so I ended up having to pry it off because I couldn't get a wrench in there. So as this jiggles, I don't know if we'll be able to see this, as this jiggles, I'm going down the road, it affects the speed. It's making it a little jerky, so this has to be tightened up. Okay, now this guy here is as stable as a rock, very, very strong, and it was a 10 mil. So if you ever have to tighten that up, it's a 10 mil wrench. So I was wrong. This piece here goes over top, so I did have to take this off to loosen this to get this up, but now this knob is super rigid. So I'm going to take it for a ride and see how this performs. What was happening is, because it was jiggling, it would slow the machine down, speed the machine up, slow the machine down. So we'll see if that fixed it or not. Okay, time to replace the lens. Okay, time to change out this lens. Now this mark here that looks really, really bad, that's duct tape. So basically I'm just going to clean that off with some Goo Gone and clean this up a little bit and it'll look great. So far I've pulled the bracket off the front because it's all rusting. I might paint it, put it back on. No need, I have a back rack. Replace the bulb, and now I'm going to work on this guy here. I'll use some Goo Gone and should take that right off. Okay, this guy is done now. The light's been replaced. That was actually paint that was on there, that's been removed. Everything's just cleaned up, batteries are replaced. Quick little wash down. And this machine's ready for many a miles. It is a nice little transformation. Probably the biggest difference between the before and after is the tire pressure. The first time I took it out for a ride, the tires only had about 3.5 to 5 pounds pressure, and then when I pumped them up to 25 pounds, it rode a lot better. How much did I actually pay for this unit? They were asking $500, and I did break my rule. I bought it sight unseen. Before I got in the car, I told him I'd give him $300. He said, not a problem. I packed the trailer up and went and picked it up. So I had never driven it, never actually physically seen it, and I bought it that way, because I knew I had a donor machine where I could get spare parts off of. This was a pretty simple swap. I took one off of the donor machine, put it on this one. But they're $45 US plus shipping plus tax, so one small lens can be quite expensive to replace. Charging unit replacement. I'm going to use one of the existing ones that I have, but they range from between maybe $75 to about $250 for a replacement. Battery replacement costs are the most expensive piece that you're going to spend on a machine. That and tires are extremely expensive. With this particular machine, I had backup batteries. They were the exact same. They came out of the exact same machine. So it was just plug and play, which was really, really simple. Those batteries that I replaced them with, 2 years ago, I think I spent about $600 on them. So if you were to add the cost of the batteries and the cost of the other stuff, this scooter was a little bit expensive. But the batteries that were in there, I could actually use on a different project if I wanted. So that really brings the cost down. Overall, this was a good buy. I did break my rules. The person that sold it to me was an excellent guy, and I don't have any problems with this. My father's taken this machine out and probably driven about 30 plus kilometers just on one little trip, So it ended up that it was a really good deal for him, and he really enjoys this machine. Well, I'm glad to see that you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, or if you want me to review a scooter that you're thinking about buying, send me a comment in the link, and I'll do what I can. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free, and it'll help me out. All you have to do is click on the icon on my face, and I'll do the rest. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.